on passing this bill to legalize marijuana within the state of Maryland for the last year.
Yeah, for the last year.
And they passed the bill in April, so we'll be able to vote on it in the general. So make sure you go vote. But
yes,
what is that? What are all the aspects that bill entails? What does it mean that legalization of marijuana is someone that was arrested for, let's just say, possession of marijuana? Does that get expunged, or do they have the opportunity to get that expunged?
They will. They will.
We are back live with another interview, another See Through the Hype interview with the one and only Nicole Williams. Wait, y'all don't know much about Nicole Williams. She's a state delegate for District 22.
Correct.
Right? And a former Prince George's County Committee Central Committee member. She was the PG Forbes 40 under 40. Prince George's Forbes 40 under 40. That's crazy. She's running for re-election because she fights for different issues that, we all care about, affordable housing, especially housing being so high. And most importantly for my viewers, I know especially for my black brothers and sisters, she's going to be the reason we're voting in general, if you vote, because we know how black people tend not to vote, especially in state elections. But she is going to be the reason in November we're able to vote on marijuana legalization. So I need everybody to make a big round of applause for Nicole Williams, state delegate since 2019, running for re-election for District 22. How does it feel to be on See Through the Hype? And we're out here. We're at the polling station. We're at the polling station. A lot of you guys are unfamiliar with this because you guys are not registered and you guys do not vote in the primaries. But we're here with the one state delegate, Nicole Williams. How does it feel to be on the today? And you guys hear the chants in the background. That's the poll light.
Yeah.
So we're bringing it to you.
Right. No, it's great. It's the last day of early voting here in the state of Maryland. Polls are open till 8 p.m. So actually, and we have same day registration here in Maryland. So you can come here to the poll, get registered to vote, and vote. All in the same breath.
8 a.m. to 8 p.m., 7 days a week. They made early. We're the most progressive state. We have the most progressive voting right laws and policies. They gave us 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., 7 days, and most of us still won't take advantage of us. And a day turnaround policy? Nah. 30, it takes, 10 to 20 minutes to really get registered to vote?
Yeah.
I wasn't registered before. I'm going to be honest, See Through the Hype. But let's get right into it, Miss Williams.
Yes.
What inspired you to get into politics? Black women in politics is not often, you don't commonly see. So what inspired you to get into politics, and what was that initial process like where you wanted to run for office, I guess, with the Prince George's Central Committee back in 2013?
Yeah, so it's so funny. I actually first got involved in politics. I really was kind of the behind-the-scenes person. So my whole theory was, if I help elect good people to get in office, to make good policy, then we can effectuate change in our community. And so I grew up in D.C. And
what part of D.C.?
I grew up in Northwest.
Yeah, you got to say the part. You can't say, I just grew up. You grew up in Northwest, yeah.
I grew up in Northwest off of Georgia Avenue. And so went away to college, went away to law school, came back home after law school and was working for a while. And, it was just like, I was telling my mom, it's like, I think I want to do something more. I want to get more involved in my community. I wasn't certain exactly what that looks like. And so she was like, oh, do you remember Miss Amber who used to live across the street when you was growing up? I said, yeah, I remember her. And she was like, why don't you give Miss Amber a call? She's really involved. I think she's like with the NAACP and all this other good stuff. So I called her up, a woman named Amber Waller, who used to serve on the school board actually here in Prince George's County.
Shout out to Amber Waller.
And she also was on the Central Committee as well. And so I've known Amber ever since I was 5 years old. So I called her up and said, hey, I think I want to get more involved, but, not certain what that looks like. And at that time, I was still in my 20s and probably about 24, 25, somewhere around that time frame. And she's like, well, what are you doing next Saturday morning at 9 o'clock? Well, 25. I was usually still
maybe maybe
I might have been out the night before, anyway. So I said, okay, well, yeah, I can do that. I can just, try not to hang out as late on a Friday night. And so I met her over at Riverdale Baptist Church.
Oh, wow.
And they were having a forum that day on crime here in Prince George's County. And it was a number of different individuals who were on the panel. And so she just introduced me to a whole bunch of different individuals that were there at that event. And one of the individuals that I met that day was a guy named Rashawn Baker. Who was
Rashawn Baker was running for governor with Navarro.
Well, at that time, he was running for county executive.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so,
of Prince George's
County. And he's a former state delegate. And so he said, well, we're always looking for people to kind of help out on the campaign. And he introduced me to his campaign manager. And, and so I called her up a couple days later and said, hey, and so she invited me to the office and interviewed me. And I ended up working on his second campaign for county executive.
Was you an organizer?
I was actually his body person.
Oh, you were the body too? I'm half Brooks body, half organizer. So the body life, it's like a personal assistant that travels around with the politician.
Correct. And it was just such an eye-opening experience. Even though I grew up in the area, I learned so much about Prince George's County in that role. There were days where 1 minute we're all the way down in Akakeek, next minute we got to go all the way back up to Laurel. I learned about really every crevice of Prince George's County during that period. It was just such a awesome experience for me personally. And so, but I still was just really content being behind the scenes. And so worked on a number of other campaigns, got involved with the Young Dems here in Prince George's County.
The Young Democrats of
The Young Democrats. And so ended up becoming...
Were you like a chair or
I ended up becoming chair of the Prince George's County
you're the chair of the Young... she's the chair of the Young Maryland Democrats.
I was, yes.
And what does the age stop for being
40.
40.
Yes.
You hear that, Young Maryland Democrats? The deadline to join, or the age max for joining the Young Maryland Democrats is age 40. Because I was always wondering what the
I think it was 40 when I was there. They might have changed it to 36. I don't know, but it's somewhere around that time frame. And so, and then just was involved locally initially, and then got involved in the state Young Dems chapter, and then actually got involved with the national organization and served on the executive committee for the Young Democrats of America, actually.
Wow. Oh, wow.
And so, and then through that, ended up applying and serving 3 years on the DNC Youth Council as well. And so, when I was a member of the DNC Youth Council, our job was organizing basically youth outreach, trying to get young people registered to vote and engaged and mobilized really throughout the country. And so been to New Hampshire, been to Iowa, been to California, just all across the country, Salt Lake City, doing stuff on behalf of the Democratic Party. And so, but this is home. This is home for me, regardless of where I was, and always wanted to come back home. And so there was an organization that was just starting up called Emerge Maryland.
The Emerge program. That's what my boss Brooke did, and a multitude of others.
Yeah, so Brooke was in the first class of Emerge Maryland.
Oh, that was the first class.
She was in the first
older class. Yeah. She don't like when I say that.
I was
like when I say
and I was in the second class of Emerge Maryland. And actually at that point, I was sort of thinking about running for office, but just wasn't 100% certain.
The Emerge, just to clarify, the Emerge program is...
Yeah, so Emerge Maryland is an organization that trains Democratic women to run for public office.
Okay.
It's part of a larger organization called Emerge America. Okay. They have chapters in various states all across the country.
Okay.
And so it was in the second class of Emerge Maryland. And actually, while I was in the class, one of the aspects is that you spend a day in Annapolis. Oh. And so I was in Annapolis.
Annapolis, the House of Delegates?
Yeah, Annapolis, where the state house is. And so was in Annapolis, and I ran into my state delegate, actually, at that time, a woman, the African-American woman named Tawana Gaines, who was my predecessor. And so I see Tawana, and she's like, Nicole, when you're done here, come to my office. I need to talk to you. And I'm sitting there like, what did I do? Oh, my goodness. And so, I go to her office. And she said, we're looking for some good people in our district, in District 22, to run for Central Committee. Yeah. Would you be interested? And so, I thought about it a little bit, and I said, yeah. And so, actually, that's how I ended up running for the Democratic Central Committee.
So, what does the Democratic Central Committee member do? I know I'm never clear on their purpose.
Yeah.
I just heard that if a state delegate dies, that they just appoint someone. I'm like, wow,
Well,
that's such an extreme to have a position, but what do they do?
That's part of what they do, but that's not the only thing that they do. So they're really, every county has a central committee, and they're really an arm of the state Democratic Party. And so they're part of the state Democratic Central Committee, and really they're supposed to be the party apparatus in each individual county. So our role is to voter registration, voter education, and voter engagement is always how I like to describe it. The 3 E's.
The 3 E's.
Is what the central committee does, basically.
Okay. Wow. And is it a 24/7 job? Is it full-time? Is it part-time?
It's part-time. You don't get paid for it.
Oh, you don't get paid?
Yeah.
You hear that? Free. Central committee members do not get paid. They're just volunteering their time to help you. And that shows that that's where she started. That means she's not corrupt. Just a lot of people hearing you, they're going to try to create narratives in their mind that she's not corrupt. She was volunteering for free, campaigning on her own time to help you guys. Central committee member at first before state delegate. Remember that.
Yes. So that's what I ran and served in that role for 4 years. And then in 2018, took a leap of faith and decided to run for state delegate.
And why do you say leap of faith? What made it a leap of faith?
Oh, my little alarm's
Oh,
going.
yeah.
Let's just silence that. Just hit the stop. Oh, okay. The leap of faith because it wasn't an open seat in my district. All 3 incumbents were running for re-election. And so it was, some people might have thought I was a little crazy to be challenging all 3 incumbents at that time.
You are a little bit crazy for that. I mean, being in a political, but that crazy is. Did something beautiful, right?
Yeah, and Frederick Douglass has this saying, power concedes nothing without a demand.
Without a demand, yes.
And so if you want change in your community, it's not going to happen simply because you just want it to happen. You're going to have to make it happen. And that's just kind of how I was raised.
So how was that process like of you going against 3 incumbents? What was your campaign plan? What was your what was that process? Because it's hard to take off an incumbent.
It is.
It's almost impossible. That's why a lot of people don't do it. But if there's
Correct.
open seat, that's why you have 10 people. So what was that like going against 3?
Yes.
And they're all on the ticket together?
They were all on the ticket together.
She went against 4, but y'all don't understand. Yeah, talk to me about that.
It was
with a senator too on the
Yes, with the senator. Yes. It was challenging, but my whole theory was, I ran a respectful campaign, and my whole thing was I just wanted to focus on the issues. This wasn't about who liked who or anything like that. It was just about these are the policy ideas that I have. If this resonates with you, then I'm your candidate. If it doesn't resonate with you, then maybe I'm not your candidate. And it's just that simple. I felt like we needed a fresh voice in our district, some new ideas, and that's what I ran on.
Okay, wow, that's crazy. And was it grassroots? Was it?
It was
Door
grassroots.
to door. Did you hit every door?
Oh,
you hit every door.
Door to door. Oh my gosh, it was yes.
Because I was thinking, I'm like, if you're going against 3 incumbents, you have to go door to door. Because even spreading those ideologies, the person will have to answer the door, and usually it's based off face. And if you had 3 incumbents plus a state senator, it's like, damn, you can't do it based off face. You literally have to get voter contact.
Voter contact 101, definitely. And I'm one of those crazy people. I love door knocking.
Oh yeah. I like going door to door. I like see the different neighborhoods. Nice yard you got there. Nice house, beautiful. Come inside, good, but come vote.
Right. So we just went door to door and just had a team of volunteers out every day, just pounding the pavement. And it was a very great experience, and I truly enjoyed it. Was a little short in 2018, came in 4th place, but we ended up creating something in the district, and it was so funny. So after I had lost the campaign, I was just kind of like trying to figure out what I was going to do next, and was just really focusing on work and things like that. And
reality, all that other reality, 9
reality,
to 5,
the regular
reality,
9 to 5. And so a couple of constituents over in Beacon Heights had reached out to me, and I was like, hey, what's going on? And they were like, well, we have this issue, and we really would like your help. And I was like, well, you have 3 delegates. Like, why are you calling me? And they were like, well, we voted for you. We support you. We believe in you, and we want you to help us with our issue. And
You specifically.
Me specifically. And it moved me because I didn't win. I wasn't their elected official, but they
trusted you.
They trusted me.
They wanted you. You were the real,
They wanted me. And so I was like, okay, all right, let's meet up. And together we put together kind of this coalition of civic associations and community leaders. And it was around issues related to the Purple Line, which is in my district, which is going to run through my district. And we meet once a month. We call it the 295 Coalition. And we get together and try to advocate and work on just all types of things that really affect. I mean, the majority of my district are communities up and down the 295 corridor, up and down BW Parkway. And so issues that are common to all of us, you know, and so just stayed involved in the community that way. And then unfortunately, like I mentioned, Delegate Gaines had to, you know, she resigned from her position in 2019, and so there was a vacancy in the district. And folks started calling me like, hey, you know, you ran in 2018, you had a really great showing, you know, I got over 4,500 votes when I ran. Are you going to put your name in for the vacancy? And so I decided to do
God's plan. That's God.
It is. And put my name in for the vacancy, and was unanimously selected by
unanimously. That's crazy. That's crazy.
By the Democrats.
That's God's. I mean, that just shows that you should. God works in mysterious ways.
He does.
And I was going to say, with your issues that you're fighting, you say you're fighting issues in a specific area. I see on your platform that you fight for affordable housing.
Correct.
And a lot of people fight for affordable housing, but what does it mean to be affordable? Is affordable $1,500, $1,000, or is affordable you're actually making it affordable per income? So based off your income,
based on your income and where you live, you know, because $1,500 is affordable, so to speak, for this region.
Yeah, for this region.
But then if you go to, say, like Western Maryland, you know, that's like a luxury apartment there. So I think
literally,
so I think you do have to base it off of income as well as region, what the median average is and things like that. And so my background, I'm a real estate attorney. And so,
that's okay. Okay, all right. Real estate attorney gonna get us right. She know all the ins and outs of this whole process. Yeah.
And so that's really, because I see it every day. I see what happens when individuals are in a housing situation and they can't afford it, you know. And one of the things that I do pro bono work with legal aid and things like that, helping people who are facing eviction, facing foreclosures. And it was something that, you know, I'd done off and on, but really when the pandemic hit, really dedicated a lot of my time during the pandemic, and doing, you know, also doing expungement fairs and things like that, because the other piece.
So the expungement fair was you? Hey, y'all heard that? There was an expungement fair last year during the summertime. That was you.
Yes,
wow. Every lawyer or a lot of lawyers and
we did it with Community Legal Services.
Wow. Are you thinking about having another one too?
I do want to do some more actually afterwards, and I think it's going to be really imperative. And the reason I tie it to housing, because a lot of times when you're applying for housing, they run background checks and stuff like that on you.
Of course, yeah.
And so, you know, and if you have something on your record, that's going to affect your ability to get quality housing. And so that's why I think the expungement fair is extremely important towards that, to be able to get in housing, to be able to get employment and those types of things. So, you know, that's something I definitely plan on continuing to do. And so, but yeah, just been advocating, have put in legislation over the years, just trying to even the playing field for tenants and things like that, just to help them, especially as we're trying to come out of this pandemic and things like that.
Yeah,
so.
For sure, definitely. Like that moved me right there, because the expungement fair I was supposed to go to for a multitude of reasons, but yes, God bless you. Like that, we need another one. A lot of people in my community.
And so I'll continue to do that. We partnered in the past, like I said, with Community Legal Services. Reed Temple sponsored one, First Baptist Church of Glenard, and we did one with them as well. And so we definitely want to continue to do that with our community partners.
And so even to branch onto my next subject, I saw that you're part of the Judiciary Committee.
Yes.
And I saw that you guys helped pass the bill, or we're going to be able to vote on the legalization of marijuana bill in November.
Yes.
Thanks to you. So thanks to her, we're going to be able to vote on those bills. I know you guys heard me talking about it often, but she is the reason, her and 9 other people.
Yes, there's a work group.
Work group, and they've been working on passing this bill to legalize marijuana within the state of Maryland. for the last year.
Yeah, for the last
and
year.
They passed the bill in April, so we'll be able to vote on it in the general. So make sure you go vote. But
yes,
what is that? What are all the aspects that bill entails? What does it mean that legalization of marijuana is someone that was arrested for, let's just say, possession of marijuana? Does that get expunged, or do they have the opportunity to get that expunged?
They will. So if the referendum passes and we go into implementation, part of the implementation bill will allow individuals to apply for expungement immediately for simply mere possession charges that they might have on their record. And that's important because immediately because right now under the current expungement law, if you have a felony on your record, you have to wait 10 years until you can be eligible to expunge that felony. If it's a misdemeanor, you have to wait 3 years. And so that's why this bill is super important, because it would allow folks to do that immediately. You won't have to wait the 3 years if that is your scenario, to expunge mere possession. And the other aspects of the bill, one of the things that we're going to be working on if the referendum passes in November is really kind of the licensing structure. You know, who all is going to get a license, how many licenses are going to be given out, things like that. And that's going to be really important because we already have medicinal marijuana here in the state of Maryland. And one of the biggest criticisms surrounding that when it first got implemented was that really the disparity in those licenses not going to minority-owned businesses.
They aren't,
you know, we tried to rectify, but it's hard to put the genie once it's out of the bottle. You know what I mean? And so I want to make sure that if we're going to go down this road, that we do it right from the very beginning. And making sure that we do have minority participation in this emerging market that's going to come to fruition. You know, we've been so busy locking up black and brown people for selling it on the corner, but now we're not going to allow them to sell it at the corner store legally.
That's crazy.
Come on now.
Oh Lord, that's crazy. That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
What? We're not gonna, man. You just said what I needed to say, because most black people, especially within the state of Maryland, a lot of my friends, that's why I'm not trying to pinpoint a lot of you guys, but a lot of my friends definitely get arrested, or I see that the numbers for incriminating black men and marijuana incriminating black, the numbers correlate, they're very high. So
they
I'm
are
just
very
like,
high.
Can we at least so the numbers at least incriminating, they go down, like?
Yeah.
And also, how does it go for former drug dealers that did nonviolent crimes? How does that go?
Yeah, so we're still trying to
wrap
our head. You know, there's a big battle about, you know, in terms of expunging folks who have possession with intent to distribute and things like that. And so that's a little bit of the battle that we're facing right now in Annapolis, is really convincing a number of our colleagues that we also need to take this a step further and look at, like you said, those nonviolent offenses and things like that, where all they are arrested for was possession for distribute. You know, they didn't have a gun on them or anything along those lines. And so I think that is the next step and where we need to go.
Of course. After legalizing, after making sure we vote to pass the law is the first step, and then we could go and proceed to the next steps.
Correct.
Shout out Miss Williams, and we have 2 minutes left, so I would like to ask you, what's the future goals and aspirations that you have, any policies that you want to push, or any position that you want further down the line, or anything you're willing to talk to us about? What's some things that you want to see within your life or community?
Yeah, well, I would say short term, there were a couple bills I had this session that didn't pass. One had to do with providing a right to counsel for individuals who are in immigration proceedings facing deportation or detainment. It didn't pass this session, but if reelected, I do plan on bringing that bill back. And hopefully,
when reelected?
And so hopefully we'll be able to get that passed. Another bill that I sponsored this past session, and we never thought that we would be at this crossroads that we're at now, but I had a bill to basically state that you cannot prosecute someone or sue someone civilly or seek civil damages against someone who is seeking abortion care or assisting someone who's seeking abortion care.
That's amazing.
I call it kind of my anti-Texas bill. It kind of takes the whole Texas concept and flips it on its head. Anyway, so I introduced that bill this session. It didn't pass, but I plan on reintroducing it again, and hopefully we can get it passed, because now we're in this brand new world. I mean, when I introduced this bill in January, we had no idea that the Supreme Court was going to overturn Roe v. Wade. And so now it's so much more imperative than ever, as we're seeing states across the country just, enacting this abortion legislation, infringing on reproductive rights and things like that. And so, so those are some of the immediate things that I would like to get accomplished. Kind of more broad stroke things. Figuring out ways that, back to the housing piece, that the studies have shown that here in the DMV area we have a shortage of housing just in general. And so take that, and we have double that amount of shortage in affordable housing. And so working with my partners on the county council and enacting things, Montgomery has what they call this MPU legislation, where if you're a developer and you are constructing, say, an apartment building of, say, 500 units, for an example, a certain percentage of those 500 units have to be, quote unquote, marketed as affordable units. They cannot be rented out or sold at regular market rates. And that's a requirement that they have in Montgomery County, and I would love for us to do something like that.
You guys don't have that program.
We do not have that here in Prince George's County. And so that's something that I would really love to see here in Prince George's County. And just the county executive is doing more with regarding the right to first refusal legislation that we have on our books. And so I'm glad that we're finally leveraging that in order to purchase apartment buildings when they go on sale, so we can be able to lease those apartment buildings at below market rate to, again, make sure that we're maintaining an affordable housing stock here in Prince George's County.
Oh, wow.
So,
and we definitely need your real estate experience and making sure that we're not getting bamboozled or any of that good stuff. And that's amazing. And the thing, even to cap it off, that's why state elections is important. The way she said, we're completely opposite of Texas. Not only can Maryland be a safe home for you, but it can be a safe home for other people.
Correct.
And that is what we're growing to be, and it's amazing and it's beautiful to see. And maybe those bills didn't get passed now, but in the next 2 to 3 years, I am 100% sure the next session in April that they will be passed, especially with everything going on. And with everything being said, I can't wait for you to have a more powerful position than what you do now, because more voices and more people around Maryland, maybe even around the country, who knows, right? Need people like you, and especially strong black women like you.
Thank you.
To look after or look up to. So
thank
100%.
you.
That's why we appreciate you on See Through the Hype.
Absolutely.
And this was Gems. So people, this was Gems. A couple of times I wanted to cry. I was like, dang, that hit me. I was like, dang, that hit me. One time I was like, dang, that really hit me. A couple times it hit me. The expungement fair, shout out to you. Yeah. Shout out to Miss Nicole Williams, Delegate Nicole Williams.
Thank you.
See Through the Hype. Make sure you go vote July 19th. It will be out before then. Thank you guys for tuning in. Delegate Nicole Williams, thank you guys for coming. We're at this whole place. You guys probably won't see it ever again. So just get a good video, get a good, you know what I'm saying? Take a screenshot, say you voted. I don't care. Go vote.
And I voted today. I voted sticker on. I voted today.
She voted. She's a delegate and y'all still don't vote. That's crazy. See Through the Hype.